Star Citizen Alpha 3.8 is the next major release planned for the persistent universe, which should be coming in mid to late December 2019, and it's expected that some of the gameplay and additions are going to be shown off at CitizenCon. We've had various leaks, roadmap updates, data mined from 3.7.1, other information about its features. There's also quite a lot of potential new features that are not on the roadmap that could fall within 3.8 as well. Alpha 3.8 is the first patch fully in the new staggered development cycle that CIG are using for Star Citizen. 3.7 saw some features cut because of this staggered development process as well. Staggered development has the devs working on 2 patches concurrently, so at the moment, that's 3.8 and 3.9, and they work on every patch effectively for 6 months that overlaps with each other. So when 3.7 came out, a load of the teams that were working on that patch then moved to 3.9, as they already had teams working on 3.8, and they've been working on it for 3 months or so. We still get a patch every 3 months, but CIG have said that this style of doing the patches allows for more playable patches, more meaty features, less bugs, and less problems. Potentially that could be less features from patch to patch because they spend more time polishing them and working on them individually, but you'll get them at a much sort of later stage than initial implementations that we've previously had. Is sort of like part of that plan. I think it's fair to be more critical and expect more of a playable game from 3.8 onwards. Yes, it's still alpha. Yes, it's still being built out. Yes, Squadron 42 is currently still the focus of CIG's development, but what Staggered Development aims to do is make the game, the persistent universe, more playable in the short term. However, typically the last patch of the year is traditionally smaller, so we'll have to see how this all plays out when 3.8 is released. But let's take a look at some of its features and some of its possible features as well. Planet microTech. It's a big icy planet with frozen seas, snow, ice, Nordic forests, mountain peaks. There are sort of like fields and plains there as well with flowers. It's very sort of like chilly, cold, Scottish, potentially biomes. There was also implications that there's extreme conditions on the planet, like on mountain tops and stuff like that. Though the player status system that tracks heat is coming later, we could see potentially some weather, even if it's sort of like more scripted than dynamic. It has a major landing zone as well, microTech, New Babbage. The version 1 of New Babbage is coming with 3.8. Enclosed to protect its inhabitants against the elements, New Babbage is a major social and economic trading hub. It has microTech's flagship store there, but there's a lot of other shops and smaller tech companies around there too. The initial implementation of that landing zone is only going to have sort of like a limited amount of districts and traversability, which will be expanded later out. There are going to be a selection of new shops here. There is a new set of clothing, armor, and wearables like glasses that citizens of microTech will wear, but they're going to be purchasable at microTech as well. There are 3 new moons of microTech: Calliope, Clio, and Euterpe. We're likely to see some new biomes and ways of using them across the planet and the moons there, potentially some new harvestables. Obviously, they're most certainly going to expand out the cave system and the missions and outposts and stuff to also encompass this area. Server-side object container streaming has been worked on for a long time as well now. The 3.3 branch of the game saw client-side object container streaming, which gave huge performance benefits. Servers are pretty much overloaded currently in 3.7 with the current planets and moons. The lack of server-side object container streaming is a major bottleneck for the persistent universe. It will enable the server to stand by zones that don't have players there, thus enabling a larger gameplay area and the addition of new moons and planets. It's expected that without this, microTech and its moons won't be able to be in 3.8, so it's also possible that some of server-side object container streaming's components and optimizations could be decoupled and put into 3.8 even if it's not fully ready. One of these sort of like items that can be decoupled as well, and that hopefully will be in 3.8, is Alpha UEC and Alpha UEC purchase persistence. That's been talked about a lot actually recently. They're potentially able to allow the saving of Alpha UEC and Alpha UEC purchases, like ships and equipment, between patches. There is a strong possibility that starting with 3.8, we could have our sort of progress financially saved between patches. It's a hope, not a confirmation. Procedural generation and planetary tech. So there's a whole suite of improvements and updates going into planetary and procedural generation, as well as VFX for planets. Hopefully we'll see less popping and that sort of stuff as well. This sort of tech includes planetary ground fog, which creates varying layers of fog on top of planetary terrain to further intensify local ambience and create a sense of visual depth. There's improved large-scale terrain shadows, significantly increasing the range in and over which shadows can be cast over terrain, and terrain can cast. So you could eventually see like giant ships, their shadows being cast, and the idea is to have resources for these giant shadows not destroying your computer RAM or graphics card RAM. There's also improvements to like artifacting and popping in of assets and that sort of stuff here as well. They want to do a restricted area rework, which will improve the behavior of restricted areas with a more natural, less obtrusive system, refactoring and fixing many internal issues regarding restricted areas to make them easier to set up and use as well. This includes landing splines, allowing the air traffic control to open up paths for players to enter the restricted area and fly to landing pads with guidance. These areas will become more natural and won't require obtrusive materials to show their presence, so no sort of like force fields around cities or anything like that. Also, this system should help with AI landing and taking off from areas. There's the possibility as well of no armistice zones as well, or armistice zones going away in some regards. There was data mined information suggesting that brandishing a weapon or using a weapon in what were previously armistice zones would be a crime, and these would have fines and security and defenses, and the law system sort out criminals that break those. They've also been working on fine kiosks that would be in major landing zones, and they would be where you pay fines that you accrue from breaking the law. Failure to pay in a timely fashion could lead to more fines and criminal ratings. Fine kiosks could very well be in Alpha 3.8. I'd expect at least a load of tweaks to the law system. I suppose as well I'd expect a load of tweaks to the law system. New space station interior integration. So Star Citizen has been building out points of interest and space station tech and assets for a while. Rest stop space stations have very cool exteriors at the moment, but their interiors are quite old. Their legacy, they're very basic and very similar. The new interiors move to both match the interior and exterior together, but also add new rooms, areas and variety with food courts, new assets and updates to their layouts. Much better, cooler looking space stations, and in the future a load of these assets will be used to build out even more stations. There's a load of new missions that we should be seeing with 3.8 as well. With the new gameplay area and the continuing updates, we can expect new missions to fill those areas. There's an expectation of more difficult missions, because we have mission sharing in 3.7, but very few missions with huge payouts and difficulty. From some data mined info, we know that CIG have been working on various missions. Some of them could appear in 3.8. There's a Covalex one to plant explosives and defuse explosives as a counter mission there, making good use of the Gondo Covalex hub there. A mission to rescue passengers from an 890 jump that's been hijacked by pirates. This sounds like it's both FPS and ship combat elements to it as well, requiring you to board an 890 jump, clear of pirates, find the crew and protect them, stop hacking there. Some more odd missions include vending machine restocks, as well as repairing systems on space stations and panels there. Potentially a way to earn Alpha UEC on board a station while you're waiting for your ship, or while you're waiting for people to turn up to do a mission or whatever. Or potentially ways of making Alpha UEC if you are sort of like broke as well and don't have the ability to rent a ship because you haven't got any money. Something like that. There was a mission as well to take out guards at a counterfeiting station for some Alpha UEC, some sort of terminal that you'd interact with there. Some of these missions will have multiple objectives and they might have some modular variety as well, but it looks like there's a lot more FPS involvement in the mentioned sort of like data mined missions at least. Some of which of these hopefully will be in Alpha 3.8, but expect some more variety, expect some more missions beyond that as well. Prisons are also being worked on. In fact, early prison gameplay bits are getting looked at, and in some way at least for CitizenCon. There's a panel for that. We don't know when they're turning up, but there is an expectation that there could be something in 3.8 or 3.9 due to how Staggered Development is working. These combine cave tech with some new assets, and this could be on moons we might see prisons, maybe in asteroids, and they're going to be part of the new law system, punishments for certain types of criminal. They're going to have various gameplay associated with them as well. Very much looking forward to that. In fact, I would actually expect caves as well to get a load of updates in 3.8, probably tying some more missions in with them, potentially putting some new harvestables in them as well. There are various AI and NPC updates. Ship AI 3D pathfinding v2 has gone into polishing, and this is a major feature. It allows AI to much more sensibly navigate 3D space by using the physics grid. The path search will be hierarchical and use other factors alongside physical data, such as graph connections of quantum travel points. The system will scale to the size of the universe and accommodate all content, including asteroid fields, planets, and space stations. It is a basis for the AI to move around the verse. It's a prerequisite for a load of their different behavior types and their sort of like top tier veteran sort of skill level and the way they're going to dynamically react to asteroid fields, to space stations, to other ships and stuff encroaching in their terrain. They're not just going to ram them, they're not just going to crash into stuff stupidly anymore. There are general quality of life and bug fix updates for ship AI as well, implementation and balancing of defensive maneuvers for gunships, for example, is one of those, but expect better AI for 3.8. Bartenders, shopkeepers, and social AI are all getting updates as well, better animations, and they're trying to make them more immersive. Bartenders, for example, will allow players to buy a selection of drinks, and the bartender will make them appropriately, going to different stations and getting the correct items to make the drink. FPS AI are getting smarter with cover usage v1, expanding their tactic selection so that they can analyze the environment and detect in the absence of full cover, possible positions where they can engage the enemy without being fully exposed. This includes objects like small crates, things that could provide partial cover, and awareness of where open spaces are. Weapon types and loadouts for AI are here as well, adding the ability for combat AI to engage players with a wider variety of weaponry and react dynamically to both player behavior and the environment, and engage strategically and realistically based on their loadouts and based on where they are. We're getting a close combat system. This is adding takedown mechanics and melee, allowing for stealth kills with both knife and bare hands. From data mining, we also know that the system actually has quite a lot of depth for brawling, so there's going to be light and heavy attacks left and right, dodging, blocking, uppercuts, knockdowns. It's going to have quite a system to it. Hopefully this is coming in 3.8 as well, rather than just the very basic stuff, but we'll have to wait and see. There are death animation and ragdoll improvements, combining updated ragdoll properties with the animation system to make reactions of players when they're deforming or falling over, getting taken out, much more realistic. We also have a variety of new ships in 3.8. The Carrack, the mighty explorer ship, which is 125 meters long, suitable for up to 6 crew with a focus on exploration, but I expect it to be an extremely versatile, popular ship, have a fast quantum travel speed, be very suitable for a huge range of missions. There were also leaks suggesting that the Pisces will also be ready at the same time here, and both ships will be shown off at CitizenCon as well, and that's the rumour. The Cutlass Red medical version of the Cutlass should fall here as well. There was a picture of the Medibay in a sneak peek recently, though it looks massive. It was actually confirmed it was the rear section of the Cutlass Red. The Prowler is the first Tavaran ship we have in game. Kinda, anyway. It's supposed to be an updated reproduction, but it's effectively theirs. We could see a new quantum travel effect for the ship, which is stealthy, sort of focused dropship boarding ship that can have its doors open in space and still remain pressurized with its air shields, sort of like more suitable as a dropship or EVA type boarding assault ship. There may be some other straight-to-flyable ships and vehicles here as well in 3.8. We know that CIG have moved towards this sort of model where they're trying to get ships and vehicles out straight-to-flyable without a traditional concept phase. There is also the possibility that Titan suits could appear here. They are going to be ready for Squadron 42, at least according to the roadmap, around the same time. They might require a bit more time to get into the verse, but I'm very excited for Titan suits. That's the only reason I hope they're there. They are going to have various improvements to the cockpit experience as well, adding more visual and audio effects to reflect the state of the ship, along with more immersive interactions. And they've been working on quality of life and HUD updates, as well as enunciator panels. So these are panels of light that give you, at a glance, relevant information about your ship systems from low power to being targeted, stuff like that. There are going to be some new purchasable weapons in the game too, that we don't know what shops they're going to be at yet, but there's the Apocalypse Arms Animus Missile Launcher. Missile launcher sounds cool, sounds like it will lock onto ships and vehicles and should help bridge the gap between infantry and ships. And there's the Bearing P6LR sniper rifle there as well. The GP-33 grenade launcher is on the roadmap for 4.0, so a couple of quarters time, but there's been several mentions of it in data mining, as well as some of its grenade types, or potentially some other throwable grenades, from radar to decoy to EMP, grav, flash, and shatter rockets. Some of these grenades may be throwables. Some of these might be ammo for the GP-33. They could all be both, and these grenades, or the GP-33, or both, could make it into 3.8, which is potentially why it's in the data mine info. That could be much further out and just is there because they're messing around with it, even if it's in white box or whatever. A preview of a high-octane new game mode is being showcased at CitizenCon. I don't know what that is. There's speculation that it's Battle Royale or Multi-Crew Arena Commander, Saddleball, Combined Arms, or vehicles with Star Marine, shipboarding objective mode. Whatever it is, it's possible it's coming with 3.8. So bear that in mind as well, and we'll find out more at CitizenCon. But that's what we know about 3.8 at the moment. There are obviously the potentials for things to slip, features to get rescheduled, so bear that in mind. There could be more things here. There could be a load of extra hidden stuff. A load of stuff could get entirely rescheduled and pushed off, but that's what we know at the moment. But what do you think? Will Alpha 3.8 be very playable with less bugs than previous builds? Do you trust that that's the sort of intention and what Staggered Development is trying to do and will allow them to do? But will it be like the same as other patches, a mixed bag of playability with some new features? Are you excited by any feature in particular? Do you think any will slip? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For October, it's an Anvil Carrack Explorer ship that should hopefully be flyable in Alpha 3.8 at the end of the year. Just comment on any of my videos made during October to be in for a chance to win that. I am also shilling for NordVPN and Shadow gaming PCs, so use the code BoredGamer for discounts there. NordVPN, in a world of censorship and privacy issues, VPNs allow you to browse the net and play games in more safety. NordVPN has many benefits over free VPNs, and that's why I shill for it. Some of you also might be interested in Shadow cloud gaming stuff. This allows you an alternative to sort of like buying and maintaining your own gaming PC. You can stream a custom Windows 10 environment to devices like your phone, a laptop, or a crappier, lesser PC, and bam, it's fantastically powerful and it's maintained and hardware is regularly updated for you. It's a fantastic service, Shadow. Cloud gaming certainly has quite a big future ahead of it. If you'd like to further support my channel, please consider subscribing, sharing this video, ringing the YouTube bell so you get notifications when a video goes live. This is a channel that is funded by the community via donations, Patreon members, YouTube members, and anyone else that wants to get involved with comments and helping. Thank you to everyone that goes the extra mile. Take care, and I will see you in the verse.